Today we're getting about as decadent as you can possibly get. It is finally fresh scallop season here in France, so we are doing pan-seared sea scallops with a delicious, creamy lemon saffron risotto. Hey guys, if this is your first time tuning in, let us know you're out there by giving us a thumbs up below and then hit that subscribe button over here in the left corner to make sure you never miss a video. Now let's start cooking. It's hard to believe that something so incredibly decadent can be cooked so fast and taste so delicious. So let's look at our ingredients, and we decided to combine these two today because they're like, I don't know, they just go together. You know, pan-seared sea scallops and a creamy, decadent lemon saffron risotto. So let's talk about these are our scallops, but we'll come back to those here in just a second. Let's talk about our risotto first, because that'll be the first thing that we start. So basically making risotto, people are a little bit afraid of it, but if you just break it down into a few steps, it's really pretty simple. What you really need to do is you're going to sweat some onions. That is, you're going to cook them till they're soft and translucent. Then you're going to put your rice in, and you're just going to pearl the rice. That is, you're going to cook it until it turns kind of pearly white. And that's that's kind of the basic steps to get going with that risotto. And then what we'll do is we will deglaze the pan with some white wine, a dry white wine. It could be a Pinot Grigio, it could be a Chardonnay, it could be a Sauvignon Blanc, whatever you want it to be. And in the meantime, we will, you can make risotto with pretty much any liquid you want. You could use chicken stock, you could use vegetable stock. In this case, we're using a fish stock, and this is a homemade fish stock. This is the kind of dish that every product that you use is important. And if you can, get the highest quality ingredients possible, some excellent butter, some good risotto rice, some Arborio rice. This is a short grain rice from Italy that is perfect for risotto. And we've got actual saffron strands here. And a lot of times if you have saffron powder, you can use that, but it's best to add saffron powder at the very end because it just kind of dissipates. But back to our liquid. We're using a fish stock today, mainly because we're going to be serving this with scallops. Otherwise, I would be using a chicken stock or a vegetable stock, something like that. And at the end of the process, we will add a little bit of lemon juice and some lemon zest, along with we've got some frozen green peas here. You could add asparagus, anything that's nice and green and blanched. You could put corn in it, whatever you want. And then we are going to grate over some wonderful aged Parmesan cheese. Not the stuff that's already grated. You really don't want to use that. You're going through a lot of trouble to make a great dish. Use an aged Parmesan cheese that you freshly grate. It makes the world of difference. So those are our ingredients for our risotto. And then we'll just top the whole thing off with some freshly grated parsley or some freshly chopped parsley. And the thing about parsley is that it's really best to go ahead and save that until the end and chop that so that it doesn't turn, dark colors around the edges. We want to make sure it stays really fresh. And so that is the basics for our risotto. I'm going to go ahead and put our stock in our saucepan over here, because for risotto you want your stock to be hot. So we're going to get that stock heated up. And in the meantime, we'll start talking about our other ingredients. So let's get that heated up. And just so you notice, I'm using copper pans today, and you really don't want to ever use too high of a heat on copper. So we are going to just bring that up. Okay. Now, once this stock comes to the boil, we're going to take our saffron and we're going to put it, as a matter of fact, we'll just put it in here now. We're just going to put it in another bowl because what we want to do is kind of dissolve this saffron, and you'll see why we're doing that here in a minute. So there's that, and but let's chat while our stock is coming up to the temperature that we want. All right, well, so let's talk about sea scallops. So there's basically generally two types of scallops that you'll see, and one is sea scallops and the other is a bay scallop. A sea scallop is a large scallop. It's sometimes called a great scallop. Now in France, maybe not so much in the United States, but you literally can buy scallops actually still in the shell. This scallop is not attached to this shell. This is a small shell. This is a sea scallop. The shell of this scallop was probably this big. It was probably a 5 or 6 inch shell. But I just brought this just to show you what a scallop looks like. And there's usually going to be a flat portion here on top of the scallop. And this muscle, this is called the adductor muscle. This is the part that you eat. And then this coral, this red part here is called the coral or the roe, which you can also eat. But it's a matter of preference. Many people prefer not to eat that. So in preparing your scallops, you can just simply remove this part. There's a little muscle that has that attached to the scallop, and it just goes right around. You simply remove that, and you can put that aside, and you can make some delicious stock with that, or you can make a delicious sauce with it, what have you. Now, the thing about scallops is that you really want them to be really, really fresh. So these scallops are just ultra fresh, and that's why I know in many parts of the world you can get scallops year-round. In France, you cannot get fresh scallops year-round. They're seasons. But very rarely will you ever get a scallop, especially in a restaurant in France, that's been frozen. It's a completely different animal, to be honest, because if you have scallops that are frozen, and I know that you can buy them in the States frozen, but what you really must do if you buy them frozen is take them out, let them thaw, and then pat them dry so that all that moisture is gone, because moisture is the enemy of caramelization, and that's really what we're going for with scallops. Even when you have fresh scallops, you want them to be room temperature when you're cooking them. So I've gone ahead and taken these scallops out, and they'll set out 25-30 minutes while we do our risotto. So in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and lightly season them. And I've just got them sitting on some parchment paper here with some salt and some freshly ground black pepper. We'll just get them seasoned on the one side, and then as we cook them, we'll season the other side. So we have our fish stock set to get really hot here, and once that starts kind of boiling a little bit, we'll take some of it out and we'll put it in with our saffron and let that start infusing and getting that beautiful color. In the meantime, let's melt some butter in our saucepan here, and really we're just melting enough butter to get our onions softened and cooked and translucent. So we'll get that in there, and we can go ahead and throw our onions in. And those, we will just let them cook very slowly while we are getting everything else prepared. And as always, since we are sweating onions, we want to add just a little bit of salt to that because it helps bring the moisture out. So that will probably cook, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. Just keep them stirred around a little bit. And now you can see that our stock is starting to boil. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead, and you don't always have to do this step, by the way. Some people don't like saffron, and so if you're not using saffron in your risotto, don't worry about this step. It's fine. In this case, we're using some, so I'm just going to take a little bit of our stock out. Now, it is important that your stock remains hot. So we've brought it up to the boil, but now what we're going to do is we'll just turn it down and just let it continue to simmer while we cook our risotto. Okay, our onions are beautiful, nice and translucent. Look at that. Okay, now it's time to add our risotto. So that's probably going to be what we need. I'm actually making a little bit smaller batch today. And just remember that the ingredients and the correct amounts are listed below the video in a description portion. So now what we'll do is get our rice all covered in those onions and that butter. And I don't know if you can see it, but you can already tell where it's kind of starting to turn white. You see how some of them are white and the others are not yet? That's called pearling. So basically pearly white. That's what we're doing. And I'm keeping my heat on about a medium while we do that. And again, we're not going for any color on any of this. We just want it nice and pearly white. Very good. All right, so now what we're going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and stir my saffron around. And I don't know if you can see that, but look at that nice color. That's what we want. And the aroma is incredible if you like saffron. Some people do not like saffron. But saffron goes very well with seafood. So it's a real nice combination. Now we're just going to deglaze this pan with our white wine. And that's about all we need. It's just a splash. But what this does, in case you're wondering why deglaze a pan with white wine, it really just brings out some incredible flavors, and it brings a depthness and a richness to the dish that you otherwise don't have. Again, you can certainly skip that if you don't want to cook with any alcohol. You could certainly skip that step. And what we're going for now, as in during the rest of this time that we're going to be doing this dish, is we want this liquid. Once you can pull your spoon through the liquid and it doesn't fill back in, that's when it's time to go ahead and put some more liquid. So the process for making risotto is that once your pan starts to get, have the liquid evaporate, then you add a little bit more. So you're just going to be adding liquid a couple of ladles at a time. So you see this? That's where we are. And so now what we want to do, in fact, we'll go ahead and bring this pan over here, is go ahead and add a couple of ladles of our stock. And we've got a nice, strong homemade stock here. You could actually thin this with a little bit of water because we may need a little bit more liquid in our risotto. So one of the things that is important about risotto is that as soon as it's finished cooking, you want to eat it. So that's a little bit difficult sometimes when you're trying to do dinner and you've got a couple of things that you're trying to pair with it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to bring this risotto to the point that we can stop it cooking for a little bit, and then we'll put our scallops on, and then we'll finish our risotto because it's only just a few minutes once it gets to that point. And now you just want to, there's a big myth about, you've got to stand and you've got to stir it for 45 minutes and this and that and the other. You don't have to do that. You don't want it sticking, but you do want to continue. You want to keep it moving around, but you don't have to stay there the entire time. So it's going to be fine. And now that we've got our saffron infused over here, we'll add that into our pot on our next on our next turn. So looking at our pot, and you can see it's starting to, oh man, the smell of it, wow. Just fantastic. Got beautiful, organic butter in there, some nice Arborio rice, nice white wine. Oh, just incredible. And like I said, we never want our pot to go dry. We just want to make sure that most of that liquid has evaporated. All right, so now let's go in with our saffron liquid. Okay. And saffron is an expensive ingredient, and it's very precious, so we don't want to waste any of it. So we're going to just make sure that we got all of it out. All of it out of the pot. So you can see just really how fast this process is. And if we were doing an even smaller amount, you'd see. And the thing is that you don't have to worry too much about your quantities. A lot of times, in recipes, you want to know that it's 1 cup of rice to 3 cups of liquid. Well, there's a lot of factors that play into that. So, one of the factors is humidity, and one of the factors is where you are, the climate that you're in. The main thing to remember is that with your risotto, you want to keep it nice and creamy, and you don't want it to be, dried out. Risotto should be actually runny and creamy. It's not like rice. It is a rice, but it should be served creamy. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes, and you can see now. Look at it separating there. That's how you can tell it's time to add more liquid. When you make a little path, and the path stays there. And then you just add more liquid. And the reason that you don't want to do this all at once, just like you would do rice, is because Arborio rice, which is a short grain rice, is you're wanting to make sure that the inside is cooked as well as the outside. If you were to put everything in there at once, you would only actually cook the outside of the rice, and you wouldn't cook the inside of the rice. And even though we're going for basically al dente, which is, it should still have a little bit of bite to it, we want to make sure that it's evenly cooked. So that's the main reason that you need to do this a little bit at a time. It's kind of like, you don't want to shock it all at once with some hot liquid. So we'll keep moving that around, and look at this beautiful color we've got with this risotto. And you can do lots of different flavorings for your risotto. Today we're doing we're using some green peas, mainly just for color, but we're going to do some lemon juice and some lemon zest to just kind of brighten it up. And then we'll finish it with our fresh parsley and that wonderful grated fresh wedge of aged Parmesan cheese. But you can put all kinds of things in your risotto. You can put mushrooms in it. You can put corn in it. Just the possibilities are endless. And I'm not sure you can tell how much the volume has increased. It's already increased by at least twice since we first started. And you're just slowly expanding those kernels, those grains of rice as it cooks. Again, we've been going about 3 minutes, and look at the nice separation. You got a nice little Moses pathway there. So look at that, how we've parted the ways there. So now it's time to add a little bit more of our stock. And we'll get this stirred in, and then we'll just take a little taste and see where we are with our texture. And again, what we're looking for is you know, for the rice to still have just a little bit of bite to it. We're actually getting very close. And when I say a little bit of bite, what I mean is it's going to be a little bit chalky when you bite into it. So that's, you want the chalkiness to go away, but you still want it to be a bit firm. So because we are going to be pairing this with our scallops today, like I said, we're going to stop this process, which you normally wouldn't do, but we're going to stop this process. We're going to start our scallops, and then we will continue on with this. And so when you stop the process, what's going to happen is that it's going to get a little bit dry, because what happens is that the rice will start soaking up all of that liquid. And so when you do it this way, you actually end up putting a little bit more liquid in it than you would have normally put in there. And the other thing that we're doing as we cook this and we stir it around and we continue to cook it, is we're just building up beautiful creaminess. That's where the cream actually comes from. Look at the texture of that. So you know what? We are there. We are going to stop this process, and I'm going to cover this, and we're just going to let it sit, and then we'll start our fish.
Hey everybody, it's Walter from Artistic Gourmet Adventures. My wife Kim and I own this unique small group tour company where we host groups of 6 to 12 guests for 1 week luxury adventures in beautiful locations throughout Europe and the United States. I have the privilege of being the adventure chef, creating and preparing daily gourmet meals for our guests. So, in this video series, from our cozy home kitchen here in the beautiful Loire Valley of France, we will demonstrate a wide variety of recipes, from culinary classics to originals, as well as covering professional kitchen techniques for the home chef. For more information on Artistic Gourmet Adventures, check our website, linked in the description below.
To get our scallops started, we've already got our pan here, and today I'm using a copper pan. You can certainly do this with a non-stick pan. In fact, I would recommend it. Just keep in mind, if you're using a copper pan, you don't want to heat up a copper pan with nothing in it. You can do that when you have a stainless steel or some other non-stick pan, but with copper you don't want to do that. So we've got that, and our butter is foaming. So now we are ready to go in with our scallops, and we just start on one end just like that, and we'll just go around the outside. Of the pan. And so we're cooking these on a nice medium-high heat. We want to make sure that we are able to form a nice caramelization on the bottom. Just like that. Just like that. So now we went in this order. We started right here, so we can kind of tell which ones are the next ones to check. So what we're looking for now is just, again, a nice caramelization on the bottom, on the one side. So we're going to leave those for probably a good minute and a half. While we're doing that, let's go ahead and finish our risotto. So do me a favor, don't tell Gordon Ramsay that I left my risotto unfinished. I don't want him to chuck my risotto out on the, or put it in the trash can. But this is the real world. So now you can see that pan has gotten a bit dry there. So what we'll do now, oh, the perfume from those scallops is absolutely amazing. All right, let's just take a little peek here. And yes, you see that? That is what we're going for. But we can go for a little bit more. So we're going to leave them on there for just a little bit more, and then we'll turn them. In the meantime, let's go ahead and rehydrate our risotto. And this risotto is very, very close to being finished. So we are now ready to toss in. We'll toss in our English peas, and really just to kind of let those get nice and warm. And let's take a look at our scallops now. Oh, that's it. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful color. And same thing on this side. Nice, beautiful color. We could actually let those go a little. That one looks like it's ready to come up to turn. And one more. Beautiful. There we go. And of course, you certainly can baste everything with that nice brown butter that we're getting. And again, our heat is not so high that we're burning our butter, so that's one of the keys. But they're staying nice and moist. Okay, risotto's looking perfect. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and juice this lemon. And whenever you're juicing a lemon, go ahead and roll it to get all those juices flowing. And I'm just going to go ahead and zest some of that lemon in here. I've already washed the lemon, so we'll go ahead and put some of our zest in here. And I think our scallops are about ready to come out. Beautiful. All right, they are. So let's get those taken out. Ah, that's fantastic. Beautiful. Scallops are something that you can actually eat scallops raw. So, undercooking is not an issue, but overcooking is definitely an issue. You do not want to overcook scallops. Otherwise, they become rubbery and you just start to lose all the flavor. So, fantastic. Look at that. We'll set those aside for just a second while we finish our risotto. Okay, look at that. Nice and creamy. Let's add just a little bit more of our liquid. And now we can also do some lemon juice. So we're just going to kind of avoid the seeds there. All right, squeezing in. These are large lemons, so that may be enough juice. Let's have a quick taste, see where we are. Perfect balance. Everything is there. Oh, it's nice and creamy. You can definitely taste the lemon. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So at this point, we haven't added any salt yet, except for at the very beginning. But what we'll do now is go ahead and grate in our Parmesan. And again, like I said, this is a 12-year aged Parmigiano Reggiano. And just get the best one that you can find and put that in there. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off now. We don't need it to continue cooking. And we'll get this grated in. And you always want to wait until after you add your Parmesan cheese before you finish seasoning, because Parmesan can be quite salty sometimes. Look at that texture. Oh, creamy. Beautiful. All right, let's do one more little test here. Okay, it's very good. All right, a little bit more Parmesan. Then we'll add a little bit of salt, because this one's not extremely salty. A little bit of salt and a little bit of black pepper, or white pepper if you prefer. That should do it for our cheese. And let's go in with a little bit of salt and just a touch of black pepper. And let's get ourselves cleaned up here a little bit. Get that nice and stirred in. Wow, yes. That is absolutely magnificent. It's creamy. Now at this point, if you wanted to go in and add a little bit of butter, you certainly could if you want a little bit more butter flavor, because we really put the minimum amount in at the very beginning. So I think we're ready. Let's give it a taste. Our risotto is ready. Look at the nice creamy texture. Oh, look at that. And I'm just using a little ring mold to plate this, because it's, it's gonna, of course, it's gonna flow and run a little bit. But this is a nice. It makes for a nice, pretty presentation to do this. So if you can find one of these, that's great. And when you get it in there, then just kind of work it around the mold, and we can now just add our scallops to that. We'll take this out and add these nice, beautiful scallops. Wow. How about that? And let's do one more nice pretty one. Just like that. And just a little bit of parsley over the top. And there we have it. Our pan seared scallops with a lemon saffron risotto. And we've got this paired today with a beautiful, beautiful dry white wine. It's a Chenin Blanc. So whenever you're having scallops, whenever you're having seafood, it's one to really consider to have with it. It's a great pairing. They are just absolutely made for each other. This is what is called an off-dry wine. It's not, as dry as some Chardonnays would be, or as dry as a Pinot Grigio, but it's definitely not sweet. So it's kind of an off-dry, or what they call medium sweet almost. But in the world of white wines, this is fantastic. It's beautiful. It's nice pale yellow color, actually a little bit kind of a dark yellow color. I think it's been maybe in some oak. But anyhow, it's a great pairing with some fresh sea scallops. It is time for that taste test, and I'll tell you what, I cannot wait. We've got our risotto here, and I've actually finished it with a little bit of really good olive oil. So just, you know, this is not the olive oil that you want to cook with. This is something that you go and it's on the top shelf at the store that you just want to just put a little bit around the edge there. So let's give it a shot here. I think I'm gonna go, this one's closest to me, so we'll just try this one. Oh, look at that texture. Beautiful. Oh, it's just unbelievable. It's just, you can taste the sea in there. Try some of a risotto. It's great. That little bit of olive oil around the edge is a perfect finishing touch. The fresh Parmesan, the green peas, the lemon in there, everything just works so well on this dish. I really hope you will give this dish a try because it's a winner every single time.
If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, give us a thumbs up below and hit that subscribe button, it's free. And ring the bell if you want to be notified as soon as we release a new video. Also, let us know in the comments if you have any special recipe requests. We really appreciate you tuning in. See you next time.